from his poem called If, and I think it's applicable to all life situations. Personally, it's one of my favorites. As also the fact that it all begins here, in the mind, right? So it's now time to investigate the 10x growth mindset, because what's in the mind manifests in reality. And to do the honors, may I please invite our panelist, Mr. Sumit Kabra, who's the director of RR Global and co-founder of Scubes, a consultancy firm. He's got wide experience in deal negotiation, customer acquisition, and idea generation and analysis, qualities which are very important for a startup. He's been awarded the Emerging Business Leader at WCRC London 2014. I believe a good business always gives back to society, and he gives undivided attention to CSR activities, which makes him an outstanding entrepreneur. Not only that, he is an active committee member of HEMA Foundation, which is Humane Endeavor for Moral Awakening, as also an active member of Yuva, Friends of the Tribal Society. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Sumit Kabra, Director, RR Global. And we've also got our moderator, Mr. Ratnesh Kumar Jha, CEO, Burlington Group of Companies. And before Burlington, he was the CEO of Cambridge University Press and Assessment for India and South Asia. He's seen the telecom sector, the banking sector, and the education sector closely in the past 23 plus years, having performed in leading roles in organizations like Vodafone, GE, and Citibank. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our moderator, Mr. Ratnesh Kumar Jha. And our third speaker this evening, he's repackaged India's ancient Indian science of Ayurveda for modern consumers and created India's largest online Ayurveda brand, Dr. Vaidya's. Now he's the first Ayurvedic to be featured in the Forbes 30 under 30 list and Business World 40 under 40 list. He's an active angel investor, venture capitalist, and mentor to brands in India's startup ecosystem. And he has a podcast, well that's something different that I get to tell you about. He's got a podcast called Direct to a Billion Consumers, which is about navigating India's complex and exciting FMCG ecosystem. I believe he's going to join us shortly. And Ratnesh sir, I'm going to hold you for a little while, please, because there is a time that we have to thank our sponsors. If I can just have my phone, we can't do without these. In these times, right, phones have become very, very important. Thanks a ton for that. So like I was saying, we need to thank our sponsors and we need to acknowledge the immense contribution that they've given to having a wonderful, wonderful TiECon 2022. Our platinum sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, Startup Punjab, Government of Punjab, Invest Punjab, Invest India and Startup India. And our bronze partners, IDS Argus, Ideas, Grisiti Interactive, IDS, Enabling Success, USPTO, NetSmarts, Net Solutions, and our evening dinner sponsor, Credai Punjab, followed by our lanyard partner, Chitkara University, and our support partner, Learning Path School, Tainor, Lakshya University, ISV, Canadian Embassy, and Meraki. And with that, Ratnesh sir, it's all yours. Beginning with applause seems a little more befitting.
Arjun is going to join shortly. He's just about to be here. I think I'll start with what the lady said about Rudyard Kipling's poem, If. And I think the last session was very apt for that if. If Scotch has to come free to this country, that's what they were talking about. If the Canadian visa turnaround time becomes faster and we get more and more visa, if the copyright laws become easy for us, more and more patent in this country, therefore a vibrant entrepreneur setup or a startup can happen. So all of that if, with the Scotch coming free, with agility and turnaround time of Canadian visa becomes better, with patent being faster, what Punjab can do. Did you guys give a big round of applause for that? So this is a little different session than what has happened since morning. We've seen a lot of highs in terms of morning session where we've had very successful entrepreneurs being part of the session and they're telling you about their story. This is both academic, which is in terms of bringing a little bit of theory, in terms of what we're going to do during the session with the two of young entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs, in a way that they are family entrepreneurs. Within the family, they are entrepreneurs. They're going to talk about their story. Also, this session actually going to unpack for you what does it mean to be a legacy? What does it mean for a family? What does it mean to be working in agile family, loving family, but also be a family which is challenging you every moment to do better, do more. I think that is something for somebody who's actually building a business in a more cohesive, more based on legacy would help you in terms of listening to our young panelists. But before I do that, let me spend a little bit of my thoughts to share with you. What is this mindset which we're talking about? There's a very famous psychologist, Carol Dweck, Stanford psychologist. She's still teaching psychology at Stanford. She talks about belief. The basic concept there is that if you believe something, you will achieve it. In her book called Mindset for Growth, she says that your subconscious, unconscious, conscious mind is always dabbling with this whole belief of, whether would you be able to do it or not. And the idea is that if you concur, or if you be able to sort of get to that beyond belief and thinking that you will be able to achieve, then the achievement and whatever you have planned, you will be able to. So we're going to talk about mindset more in detail, but that's nothing which I'm saying is not what you've heard in Indian movies. The famous Shahrukh Khan saying that if you decide, अगर आपने सोच लिया करना है, तो पूरी कायनात लग जाती है आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए. और उसके भी पहले उन्होंने ये बताया कि भाई अगर अंत तो अच्छा होना ही होना है, पर अगर अंत अच्छा नहीं हो तो पिक्चर अभी बाकी है. So you have to have that belief that picture abhi baki hai. So start from a place that if you are failing, that's your start point. And that's exactly the mindset we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the fixed and the growth mindset. Fixed for all of us, and me and my panelists here, I've heard them. I was telling them, I was trying to look at them for the last couple of days as to how exactly their journey been. And what I really found common in that journey is that static mindset, which is a fixed mindset which we talk about, which gets stuck at one place, is really for the passion, for the agility, for the newness, for the entrepreneurship is dangerous. And anything which is dynamic, which really starts from where the failure happened, is what you call as a really a growth mindset. And we have many examples of this. Right now we're seeing very close. And all of you are reading that in news. In 2008, Christmas time, Elon Musk was talking about bankruptcies, the 3 days of fund left for them to declare bankruptcy. And 23rd of this month, when he talks about 44 billion acquisition, what if you would have actually not thought about building that organization of Tesla? That possibility of 44 billion buying of Twitter would have not happened. That is, there are a lot of criticism about many things about that whole, the way it has happened, but think about it in the context of this fixed or growth mindset we are talking about. What happened from 2008 to what he did 3 days or 4 days back when the announcement happened. So I think that's the context, which I just wanted to set it up for you guys to understand people sitting both sides of mine. They've done a brilliant job, and I think since morning I was here listening to a lot of great story. But I must tell about these two gentlemen sitting next to me, that many of their story is not as visible as I want it to be. But I think we will make best effort to make that visible today. So the way we want to do a session is to make it more question answer session, and have more and more conversation with us, with you, and try unpacking some of the real stories or real things which can really help you to build organization, to scale organization, to attract investment, or to say be able to expand outside of the country. So let me straight away dive in, and the first set of questions I'm going to ask both of you, and start Arjun with you, to talk about your journey so far, the way you've done that in many of your TEDx conversation. So spend some time telling us how exactly been journey of yours. Let me start this question.
Yeah, thank you so much for the amazing introduction on the importance of sort of tackling failure in entrepreneurial journey, and just wanted to say hello to all of you. It's my second time in Chandigarh and I'm so happy to be here. And flight was slightly delayed, so I came straight from the airport and I troubled a lot of the people at TIE for being late, but I'm here and we're having this conversation. So for all of you who don't know, my name is Arjun Vaidya, and Vaidya, my last name, means Ayurvedic doctor. I come from a legacy of 150 years of Ayurveda, but the legacy of what I was able to build was actually not a business. My grandfather and great-grandfather were Ayurvedic doctors. My great-grandfather set up an Ayurvedic clinic in Bombay, which eventually my grandfather took on because that was what was customary at the time, that you do what your father does. So he graduated from med school and in 1971 he took on his father's practice. But this was one Ayurvedic clinic in Bombay, and my grandfather was a man of service. He didn't want income to prevent people from coming into his clinic, and so he offered a free consultation in his clinic. With time, he became one of India's most successful Ayurvedic doctors. He had 300 to 350 patients on a daily basis walking into this clinic. More interestingly, he had 12,000 people on a monthly basis from across India writing to him via post. Now, post, as you'll imagine, was the e-commerce of that time. So my father graduated from college. He didn't want to become a doctor, so he studied business and then eventually tried to make a business out of what my grandfather had in his clinic. But as you know, doctors and businessmen don't see eye to eye. My grandfather didn't really care for sales, distribution, marketing or strategy, and so eventually my dad went his own way and built what is now my family business in the jewelry and the watch space. I was actually born with juvenile bronchitis. I suffered from asthma. I grew up with pumps, nebulizers, inhalers, steroids. I love cricket. All of you can see my phone covers the back of Sachin's jersey with my name on it. So I started playing cricket at 5, like most kids around me did. But by age 7, my grandfather moved me off the cricket field because for all of you who've been to Bombay, the cricket fields in Bombay don't have much grass, it's just dust. And it wasn't good for my asthma, so I was a 7-year-old, 6-year-old kid trying to play golf and squash with a hand-eye coordination problem. So I wasn't really good at it, and that bothered me. It bothered me that while all the other kids were having Limca, Fanta, Sprite and Coca-Cola and ice cream and parties, I was the only kid who couldn't actually have it. And today I still don't have any of those aerated drinks, but it bothered me at that time. And so I got on Ayurvedic treatment. My grandfather cured me of asthma. And by age 15, I actually started playing cricket again and became the captain of my school cricket team. Now, it wasn't a great team. There were only like 15 people who wanted to play. I went to an international school. We played 5 games, won 3, lost 2, and that was the end of that. And I was made captain not because I was the best player, but because I was the most regular to practice. But that moment in my life actually was very important because Ayurveda had allowed me to get rid of this asthma and get what I believed was a normal childhood. Right? So I became a believer in this science, in what Ayurveda had more than just being family legacy. Went to the US for my undergrad in 2009. And then I saw yoga being repackaged, right? And I thought to myself, like, yoga mats, yoga gyms, yoga apparel, Lululemon, like multi-billion-dollar industry in the US. But India had nothing to do with it. So I called my grandfather from campus and I said, hey, it's amazing that yoga is global, but it's sad that Indian companies don't have anything to do with it. So the patriotic one in me came back to India, worked in private equity for 3 years in a consumer sector focused fund. But when my grandfather passed, I actually remember this promise that I made to him. And so I quit my comfortable private equity job and took on his legacy of Ayurveda, built a new age Ayurvedic products business called Dr. Vaidya's. Now India's largest Ayurveda brand online. We scaled it from 0 to 5,000 orders a day and 2 million plus transacted customers across 16,500 pin codes in this country. Eventually raised some money from the RP Sanjeev Goenka group, and in March of last year we sold the business to them. So that's my journey in a nutshell, but happy to dig deeper.
Congratulations, Arjun. What a fantastic story of building on the legacy. I think I kept this question second to you, but I wanted to give you a little bit of preamble to your question before. First time I heard about RR is when I took my office in Delhi Aerocity. And when I took my office and I was going down, we were deciding for the team that how many parking spaces, and then suddenly I asked one of the guys that who manages this and who built this such a massive infrastructure, 2,200 parking space up and going down. And that's when they said RR Cable. And when I was told that I'm actually doing this panel today, that sort of got reminded to me. So, Sumit, talk about your sort of story.
Well, good evening everyone. Thanks, Rai Chandika, for inviting me here. Ratnesh, well Arjun, that's really inspiring story from your side. Thanks for that. My grandfather is a Bangladeshi born. My father, uncle are Nepal born. They had certain good business studies there in Bangladesh as well. In 1947, when the separation happened, he had to migrate to Nepal. And that's the country he chose. You know, we had certain conservative thinking at that point of time कि कुछ तो पैसा बाहर होना चाहिए. Fortunately, he did a smart thing while separation. He had get certain amount of money in Calcutta. And when this separation happened, he took that money and went to Nepal and started again his all business journey. In 1961, he came to Mumbai to meet his friend. He was sitting around like Powai Lake, where he saw many yellow buses and the name was written L&T. He just asked his friend, what is this bus standing here for? And he said, ये यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा L&T group है जो बहुत सारे लोगों को जॉब देता है, रोजगार देता है. From there, the inspiration came, and overnight suddenly he decided. He went to Nepal back. He said, I will leave this business of sari, which is running profitable. He got separated from his brother and decided to migrate to India. In 1964, the whole family migrated to India in a small place called Indore, and we started with the trading activity. We continued this trading activity along with one partner in Indore till 1971. And again, we said, okay, we cannot continue more, and they again migrated to Mumbai. So finally, after settling in Mumbai in 1972, they were becoming trader, they were doing well. In 1988, fortunately for us and unfortunately for the company what we were doing trading for, they got closed away, and this is where the opportunity came for us to do manufacturing. And then the manufacturing journey started for us. So 1987, we started with small scale manufacturing. In 1994, we started with IPO. That time we didn't have much fund. The company called Ramratna Wires, where we raised the money from the public and put up our own money right now. And then from 1999, we saw my uncle and father, they saw at some places the fire has occurred. And there where the spark came in their mind, let's build up a wire which doesn't catch as fire. And that's where the RR Cable was born. And from 1999, today RR Cable is more than $1 billion brand. So we in the whole electrical industry, our all peers are 4 decades old. But we are the only company who has sustained against our all peer and made a $1 billion in the electrical industry. We continued moving very aggressively in the market. The whole theory about, we are today discussing about growth mindset. Whatever business we have to be in the top 5. That's a whole clear thought process of us. 2004, we started with multi-level car parking system. 2009, we started with bus bar division. 2012-13, I went to Bangladesh. There I found a partner. So it was the first global expansion of our RR Cable in Bangladesh as well. So we created a footprint equally from India as well. So when I went Bangladesh, I was roaming around in the Nawabpur market, and we saw why not. Bangladesh is at least 7 to 8 years behind in India, and this gives again as an opportunity to create a footprint in Bangladesh as well. You won't believe, in last 5 years, we are also in top 4 in Bangladesh as well now. So by Asia, we are the largest copper consumer company right now. As a group, we consume around 7,300 tons per month as a copper, whereas in 1999 we started with only 150 tons. In 2018, we got an opportunity to get TPG, Texas Pacific Group, one of the world's top investors. The whole thought process started getting into different way altogether, and we diluted 21% stake at $500 million at that point of time. Of course, after that COVID came, the whole professional structure started. We ventured into electric scooter, and fortunately, last week only we raised 52 crores in electric scooter as well. Beanie Cosmetic, Darshan Bhai is on the board with us, and planning to raise on a bigger fund in the next time as well. So we have been fortunately, growth mindset has been done. In this whole journey, I would like to say, there were many businesses which we started in between, but we closed as well, because we were not able to reach in top 5. So our clear philosophy is, if you're not able to reach in top 5, shut down that business. This is what we have adopted and have been doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about cable business and we are talking about Ayurveda. We're not talking about fintech and edtech and those sort of discussions, very vibrant discussions. These are traditional businesses, tough businesses to build scale, build billion-dollar scale, set Ayurveda, which is a niche sort of market to scale and take it to a closer. It's a tough business, and we have example here setting up such a great story around it. So let me come back to you, Arjun, to ask next question. And this is a little sort of anecdotal. We've had World Health Organization Chief Tedros coming to Gujarat. And what I find common between Gujaratis and Punjabis is the word entrepreneurship. So both them, Gujarati here and Punjabis there, common thing is entrepreneurship, the whole agility. So this Tedros comes to India, and there's a large healthcare conference happened, and he gets named as Tulsi Bhai, right? So Tedros is now Tulsi Bhai. Now, in context of the positioning of the Ayurveda brand, how much is your contribution? Why do you think, is that really what one of the contributor to have this world recognizing it now?
So, look, I think when I was in the US, I saw yoga, as I said, being repackaged, and when I started Dr. Vaidya's, the idea was that, hey, there is this ancient science of Ayurveda that I know, my family knows, it's appealing to us, but because of the format, the form factor, the way the products are packaged, positioned and consumed, it's not exciting for modern consumers, right? So when I set off on the Ayurveda journey in 2016, 24 and a half years old, I said, this needs to change, right? Because Ayurveda needs to be appealing to everyone in this audience as well. So we started with the premise of saying, hey, Chyawanprash is an immunity booster. For all of us who followed what the government said during COVID, the government actually said have Chyawanprash to boost your immunity. But Chyawanprash is a black, bitter, sticky, inconvenient paste, right? Most of us will remember at some point, some parent, mother, grandparent trying to push Chyawanprash down our throats, and we just didn't want to have it. And so I said, it's a problem, right? And most people in Ayurveda said, hey, but it can't be solved, that's Chyawanprash, it's 3,000, 5,000 years old, so we can't do anything about it. And so Dr. Vaidya's, we said, hey, it's good for kids, but kids hate having it. Today's kids can take their own decisions. So how do we solve for that, right? And so we were the first company in the world to launch a Chyawanprash toffee. And we launched a product called Chakash, and we made Chyawanprash exciting, fun, and palatable for kids, right? And I think that's the message that we tried to sort of proliferate with Ayurveda. And today you're seeing it significantly growing, not just with us as a business, but you're seeing effervescent tablets of kadhas, you're seeing new age formats, mouth dissolving strips with Ayurveda. And I think the WHO chief coming to Gujarat last week for the Ayush conference is a significant step to say, hey, Ayurveda is now serious and it's arrived. And I think since 2014 there have been a lot of steps that have happened with the government to sort of push the message of Ayurveda. And I think a dream that I couldn't fulfill, but a dream that I had when I started. We didn't really do as much in global markets as we wanted to, and I'm sure Dr. Vaidya's will now under its new leadership. If you see our packaging at Dr. Vaidya's, if you buy any of our products today as well, you will see proudly Indian written on the front and center of every single package. Wear this band with the Indian flag on my hand for the last 12 years. And that was the sort of idea and objective is maybe in 10 years, 15 years, we can see those Ayurvedic products on the shelves of 50, 100 countries, and that message of India, that symbol of India actually exists across the world. So I think we're on our way there, but let's be honest, traditional Chinese medicine does 30 times the amount of exports as us, right? So we have some way to go.
Gentleman here, he goes to US to study in Brown University. does nothing to do, has nothing to do with medicine. He studies economics and IR, is that what the subject was? And then comes back and have a recall of his grandfather and says, okay, let me set up this business all over again. Sets it up, scales it and make it a great company for that to be sold at a certain price. But this whole made in India, made for the world, Sumit, that is something which is very vibrant, and I think many of us had that conversation here. Considering that you are one of the very credible player in the copper wire space or the electrical space. What is RR Cable to the world? What are you thinking in terms of your headroom and expansion? You looking at this as going to be one of the credible and very large player in the world? What's the plan?
So yeah, of course, Ratnesh, we are on a very right track. As I said earlier, TPG was on the board and they infused 630 crores in 2018. This is where we got an opportunity to have a liquid fund with us. In last 3 years, we have acquired Ariston brand, which is ex-lighting LED company. And recently, if you have seen that, we have acquired Luminous Fans and Lighting division as well. So we are the first electrical company acquiring an MNC arm, and this is the first proud feeling for us. So this is what Make in India is doing right now, and we are a firm believer. You won't believe the way we are moving in all the right directions, having 62,000 startups right now in India registered already. I'm very confident the way we are moving, very fast with the way we are moving at the 5 trillion economy as well. And by 2030, everyone is talking to be surpassing the top 2 countries of the world. We are very much confident about it.
I think this is a very dear question to me. You made a lot of money. What are you doing with the money?
So I think when we had the outcome and the exit, right, my dad said one thing. He said, look, I've been running my business for the last 35 years and most people don't have the opportunity to stop, pause, reflect and restart in life. Right? And so he said, use this time wisely and come up with something meaningful from this time. Right? So exited in March 21, April 21 was second wave. So my wife and I actually moved outside of Bombay to our farmhouse, beach house in Alibag, and we started reflecting, what is it that we want to do going forward, right? And the idea was that when we were building our business, and we were trying to sort of make a brand in the new age D2C e-commerce space, there was no one could to help us. Like literally no one to mentor, to advise us, to guide us, to tell us, hey, you're going wrong here, go here, right? And so eventually I'd go to my dad, he runs a luxury jewelry business, and I'd say, hey, help me with my Facebook advertising. I mean, he tried to help, but he didn't have the answers, right? He didn't have the technical capabilities. And so we made it our mission, my wife and I, to give back and to empower the next generation of 1,000 brands in India. So we started doing that by saying, hey, okay, we're here, we are available, we are doing nothing in life, we have some experience that you can learn from. And so we gave our time for free to founders, just said, hey, here's a link, book a slot, have a conversation with us. Then we said, okay, now this makes sense, we're seeing some good startups, we have some capital, let's start investing. So we started angel investing in companies, and in the last 14 months, we've invested in 60 companies. And then eventually I said, look, there should be an institutional way to do this, right? And I got connected to a large global private equity fund in the consumer space called World Invest. In India, they're investors in Sula, Viva, Epigamia, Purple, Wakefit, Byju's, some of the most iconic brands in our country and across the globe. And they said, look, we're doing late stage, we invest $10 to $100 million, but we want to be a part of the early stage ecosystem, and we believe that founders are the best position, entrepreneurs are the best position to do it. And so they started a separate venture fund in India, and they started in US and Europe with ex-founders. I now lead this strategy where we invest sort of $1 to $5 million across 4 sectors: consumer brands, consumer technology, enablement to e-commerce and e-commerce platforms. So yeah, I mean, I think the money aside, I had the opportunity to stop in life and use my experience to give it back to sort of new companies. And as Sumit was saying as well, right, we are in a place in India today which I have never seen in my lifetime. the vibrance, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the amount of new ideas that we get to see on a daily basis. I think it's all of our jobs actually sitting in this room as part of TIE, an organization that celebrates entrepreneurship, to do our bit, each one of us, in whatever way, shape and form we can, to be that mentor, advisor, guide, friend and support system to some entrepreneur who needs your help. And the only way we can make this vibrant is to do it together.
Thanks, Arjun. I think I'll pick on the ease of doing what you're doing now in the contemporary time, and I think it's a great place we are in at this point in time. And I think it's up to us to sort of make it. In the morning, somebody was talking about the opportune time for the next 10 years, where the capital is available, where you're looking in terms of many mentors being there. The world is looking to you and anywhere else. Look at this gentleman. Graduates out of one of the Ivy League, gets to a Louis Vuitton capital. While he was there, he dates one of the most beautiful girl who I have actually seen, and he gets married, and then comes back and settles in a very niche Ayurvedic startup. And this is really what a real creative story. And I think that's something which is really should inspire all of us in terms of wherever you are. Let me ask you a very different question, Sumit. This is about the family, this is about the larger set of legacy which you're building. You talked about this whole matbhed and man in the family. There is a matbhed, but there is no manbhed. How do you describe that?
Well, all the family business runs on certain values and beliefs, and that if that structure is right, you can fundamentally continue for decades and decades. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, and these values and beliefs have been built up from day one. So it has been said in our organization, हमारे बीच में मतभेद है, लेकिन मनभेद नहीं है. And this is where everyone works in organization have a different wavelength, different attitude. Even when we 7 family members, 3 in the elder and 4 in next generation work together, there's a difference of opinion. And whenever we feel that, okay, this is not matching up to the expectations, what is there, the first thing what we do is, we call this meeting called Dhobighat meeting. It's very clear, fundamentally described by my grandfather, where we all enter as a dirty mind and dirty thoughts inside a boardroom, like dirty clothes entering into washing machine. Make sure that all clothes are clean and we all are in the one wavelength. So this is the way we form that meeting. Let it be continue for 1 day, 2 days, till the time we are on the one wavelength. And this is the way we work all together. So हमारे बीच में मतभेद है, but मनभेद नहीं है. This is what the principle we follow in the organization.
Thanks, Amit. Arjun, very quickly the business side of it. When you talk about Chyawanprash and the candy story, I heard you saying that the customer-centric, the agile product market fit, and which is one of the things which talked about in the morning. You have MVP, then you do product market fit, and you raise money at any point in time. In between or don't raise it before that. I heard you saying that you were spending a lot of time in call center, listening to your customer, doing the servicing of customer. How important is that?
Yeah, so I think if I just go back to my experience, we started as an offline brand, failed miserably because we couldn't compete, shut that down, pivoted to online, and then we started November 2017, Ratnesh, with one order every 3 days on our website. So pretty much every customer who ordered, we were so curious, why are they ordering our products, right? And why are they engaging with us as a brand? Over that year, from November 2017 to November 2018, Dr. Vaidya scaled from one order every 3 days to 50 orders a day on our website. Today you'll say 50 orders a day, not a big deal, but I'll take you back to November 2018 when D2C didn't exist as a term, e-commerce brands didn't exist as a term. It was a pretty interesting time, right? So what we learned in that 1 year was the most significant part of the success of the company. We spoke to 2,500, 3,000 customers at least personally. There was no call center at that time. There was very little cloud telephony in e-commerce also. So we had one Android phone. I would take that home every Sunday, and between my wife and I, we'd answer the phone and talk to these customers from across India. Now, what we realized actually was this new age, millennial focused, cool urban brand that we envisioned Dr. Vaidya's to be, that was not where our customer was coming from. Our online customer was not from Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Chandigarh. This customer was from Anantnag, Trichy, Muzaffarnagar and Imphal, where there was no Ayurvedic doctor available to them, and we gave this free consultation to them with high quality Ayurvedic products at the touch of their fingertips. And this was value that they were seeing, right? So we pivoted our strategy to be sort of more focused to the Bharat consumer. But the biggest insight that we got from our customers, we launched weight loss products, weight loss pack, and urban sort of consumers, we thought that would do well. All these customers came back and said, you have weight loss, what about weight gain? So we launched weight gain. Weight gain started doing 4 times the sales as weight loss. Then the customers started saying, hey, you have these products for weight gain, but we're scared of having whey protein and all these protein supplements. We want to grow muscle, but we want to grow muscle naturally using Ayurveda. So can you launch an Ayurvedic muscle gain supplement? That's something that's never been heard of or envisioned before in Ayurveda. So we launched this product called Herbo Build from what customers told us in July 2019. Today, it's the highest grossing product even today in the weight and mass gain category on Amazon. But a customer told us about this. Right? So, had we not spoken to that customer, we never know the answer to this question.
Listen to the customer. Such a brilliant case study here. I think I'm going to ask a next question again, and we'll go to the audience. If there are questions, we'll take it or we'll bring it back here as a discussion. Arjun, the next question, which is related, how much of that was a brown brain of yours to say when you're saying legacy 120 years, while you're talking that your grandfather and father did not agree on the same business? He had a luxury business and your grandfather Ayurveda. One. The second, you named your the organization as Dr. Vaidya, so which is a Vaidya, and the quality and customer centricity. How much was it brown, study, or is that something which is ingenious? It is something which you learned here and did it here?
I think a lot of.
I've talked about packaging.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of exposure across my lifetime, right? So I've learned things on the sports field, I've learned things in school, I've learned things around. I got a lot of exposure into a store called Whole Foods where customers pay top dollar for natural organic products and you have offering like you've never seen before. So I got a lot of exposure from there. I saw yoga being repackaged, I went to private equity, I saw how good companies are built and all of these things are at the back of my mind. But the reality is, right, the hard truth is that the biggest learning was getting slapped on my face by a distributor saying, get out of my office, I'm not going to entertain people like you. The biggest learning was failing in offline. The biggest learning, and I put this on a LinkedIn post, was I used to send a WhatsApp message to 1,000 people because I didn't have any money to market. So I would just, any promo we had every 2-3 months, I'd send a WhatsApp message out. And I sent this WhatsApp message out just before New Year's for a buy one, get one free on a hangover product that we sold called Live It Up. And the first response I got was from a founder of a Series A funded startup who had raised $5 million and he said, bro, can you please take me off this broadcast list? Thanks. And that failure, that dejection, that despair of a fellow founder telling me to take off the broadcast list, like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing something right? Those taught me much more than anything else I could have learned in college, school, or anywhere else.
I take you back to the definition of the fixed and the growth mindset. To be able to see something of that failure which you saw and to be able to build product basis that has really given you the success what you really wanted out of. So I will actually open it for the audience to have any question and bring it back. We have enough time right now. So can somebody pass the mic to the gentleman here?
Hello, hi sir. My question would be to Mr. Sumit and Dr. Arjun. Hello sir. As we heard that you have built one of the top brand in the RR cable and you in the Ayurveda. The question that clicks me is that there is a lot of competitions that is coming day by day. Maybe we don't name the brands, but there are. So what insights you will do in the coming time consistently to remain in the top 5 or remain in the top 2? Thank you.
So, nice question first of all, sir.
Thank you.
Our group philosophy again here, unless and until you find a right USP, you are not allowed to launch a product in the market. We are very, very clear for that. So we follow Blue Ocean strategy clear process, the 4 methodology, ERRC model. First is eliminate, reduce, raise or create. Either has to fit in one of them and then only we will launch the product. This has to be very clear. So eliminate, so suppose we in RR Kabel, why it is there today, there has to be reason logical. We designed a unilay wire where you cut it and fit it, you don't have to twist it. So normally wires, what happen, electrician cut the strands, they have to twist and then they have to fit. So we eliminated one stage and we gave the twisted wire in the market. This is the first thing we did. So we eliminated one stage. So either of this model has to be followed and then only you have to launch in the market. So there has to be a lot of brainstorming done behind where the 2 factors, sustain and scalability. Either we can reach in top 5 and what will sustain us there is something we work very, very closely. We have built up one very big R&D centers with us and also we try to work with IIT and incubation centers outside where the new development of the world. I'll tell you just one more example. We are into line cable electric field. I have invested in this company in 2018, Light Fidelity, which is the future. So this is the only company in India where we have given point-to-point communication without optical fiber. Getting it? And we are the only successful right now. The first project has been executed in Gujarat. I am also working on the mountainous areas where the optical fibers are very, very difficult to lay off there. So we are giving internet connection from mountain to mountain and to the, if you know Sonam Wangchuk, I have done that live project with him in the mountain areas. So you know we have to think loud. What is that is something new in the world and what is something you are looking upon. So always focus on these 4 steps. What you are eliminating, either you are reducing, either you are raising or either you are creating something. If these 4 elements has been fulfilled, create your building blocks of sustainability and the scalability, you will surely do something.
Thank you, sir.
The lady there, there's a question.
Hi, good evening. My name is also Sumit. So I'll ask from Sumit Karwani. This is a biasness I have, right? Sir, I just want to ask, the RR Kabel has reached a point and with 100x growth mindset, do you feel unsettled or do you still have dreams, is it good or bad? I just want to understand the mindset, growth mindset. Because it's continuous unsettling what you do.
So first of all, what do you mean by unsettled and settled? See, settled means we are happy and unsettled means we want to growth mindset. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, so we'll be always unsettled. This completely growth mindset we will always be keeping. In 2005, when I joined a company, we were doing approximate revenue of 150 crores at that point of time. We as a family member together, all 7 of them, we have a completely growth mindset. That's the reason if you see from 150, last year RR Kabel we did revenue only of 5,600 crores. So we are the fastest growing company in terms of growth X if you see in the market today. Luminous has been acquired, fans and lighting division, Aerostop is there, 2 more deals are on the way which I cannot disclose you. Already put up a plant in Bangladesh and very soon we are expecting few more expansion as well. So all things what I can promise you will be the world's top, at least top 10 consumer of the world. This is what I can promise.
Can I actually say something on that one, right? On being settled and unsettled, right? Like I think one problem that I had as an entrepreneur was that like I would dream, right? That I would be at 100 orders a day. I would dream that one day my email would be flooded with so many orders I couldn't read my email. When that day came, I was actually not even like so excited. I was like, this was my dream 6 months ago. My dream now is 5x, 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 right? But my wife taught me one very interesting thing in this. Right? She said, look, it's great to be ambitious. It's fantastic to be ambitious and keep wanting more and more and more. But for a certain small period of time, stop and celebrate the small wins. So what we used to do actually was we would cut a cake. Every time we crossed 100 orders, we cut a cake. So 100, 200, 300, and eventually there's 50 cakes, right, between 100 and 5,000 orders a day. But stop, cut the cake, savor that moment for that short period of time, 1 or 2 minutes, with the team, so everyone feels a part of it. Think about what you've done and where you're going. But that cake moment is at least some small sort of reflection process on what you've achieved. If you don't do that, the life is an endless rat race on a treadmill. Right?
So the stay hungry, stay full is there is only cake moment there, right? So you have cake moment between being hungry. There's a question, last question we have here, lady in front. I think we have just about a minute, 30 seconds, so we'll see if it's finished, we'll come to you.
So, the question from both Sumit and Arjun. Arjun, firstly, admire your podcast, and we met last time. Quick question, we all talk about do's towards the growth mindset. 3 quick, witty don'ts. Don't do this. Definitely, Arjun, I add to the list, don't create a broadcast list and spam people, but 3 don'ts.
Don't believe that what you read in the newspapers about unicorns is achieved easily. Like a lot of people say, I want to have an ET article, I want to raise funding, but think about the journey behind that. So I accept there's lots of failures, number one. 2, don't under-index on team. Don't make the same mistake that I did. I was 25, 26, I thought I could do everything on my own, and I under-indexed on team till 2019. Big mistake. And 3, don't think that if you're building a startup or a company or something really scalable, you can do it part-time and then eventually it becomes big and then you do it full-time. A lot of young people say, hey, this is my startup, it's on the side, I'm doing this, when this becomes big, I'll leave this. That doesn't work. So my dad used to keep saying, you can't be slightly pregnant with entrepreneurship. So that's a don't as well.
So, I would like to say only 2 don'ts and 3. So, don't get distracted in this world, noise world. Listen to your inner voice. This is very, very important. So, whatever contemplation you have done, believe in your conviction and completion. So, I have written like contemplation to completion is something, and you have a conviction inside. Just follow your voice. This is something I would like to say. Don't, go with full emotions in the business. Create a stop loss budget. Because when we do startup, we have a tendency in emotions flowing up, and we keep on, following that and crossing the limits. So please make stop loss budget, whatever you want to start. End of the day, money plays its own role, not the emotions. So please follow these 2 things.
The last question, we have a time's up. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Arjun Vaidya and Sumit Kabra. Thank you so much. For answering all the questions, being so candid. Thank you so much. This is the last question. Let's take the last one.
I don't say that quite often though. Since morning I've been singing the same song, but please go ahead.
Hi, this is Abhay. I have a very basic question. We have been talking about 10x. So how do you define 10x? Is it just 10x in revenue? So how do you really define 10x? Anyone?
That's a really tough question. I don't have the answer actually. How do you define 10x? I think I'll leave you with a mental model because I don't have the exact answer. 10x in revenue is not the answer to 10x, right? Because if you 10x in revenue, but you don't 10x in team, you don't 10x in infrastructure, you don't 10x in supply chain, everything breaks. And I've seen that live in front of us. We 100x'd in 2 years and saw everything break in between and had to rebuild it, right? So holistic thinking towards the 10x in terms of organization, team, learning, infrastructure, all of those things should contribute to 10x. It's 360 degrees. I've not left you with anything. I've left you with more confusion, but at least a mental model to think about it.
I think the only thing which we said and qualified in the beginning, to be able to have that static mind to convert it to dynamic. So don't see failure as the end. See that as a beginning and see that as an opportunity for you to scale. So 10x is not a function of the number, it is a function of where you're starting to be able to scale that to the next level. So that's what it is. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I'm going to ask you to stay back just for a few moments. If you appreciate the small things in life, the big ones take care of themselves. And with that, it's a wrap on this one on the 10x growth mindset. And to felicitate our wonderful panel, may I please invite on the dais Mr. Munish Johar, ex-President TIE. First up, Mr. Sumit Kabra, Director RR Global. बस कुछ ही देर बाकी है, फिर तालियां बजाने के लिए नहीं बोलूंगी. Next up, Dr. Arjun Vaidya, founder Dr. Vedas. And finally, our moderator, Mr. Ratnesh Kumar Jha, CEO, Burlington Group of Companies. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful panel. And before I can proceed forward, I have to take this moment to acknowledge our ecosystem partners. Amrit